looks like we're live. Yep, looks like my mic's working. Alright, fantastic. So, welcome to anybody who's tuning in right now. So, like I said, paint streams for this channel are just kind of like when I want to do one. So right now I'm just kind of hanging out and I am painting Mortarian. Now the actual weekly stream will be after this. The light's still a little too bright, sorry. So I got a window right here. I'm just kind of adjusting the window as I go. So, and there we go. So this should be good. Hopefully the lighting's fine. Now I did have to replace the camera, which I'll go more into when I do the weekly stream here in a bit. But thank you guys for joining me. And after this, we will do the weekly live stream where I go into lists and I talk about the meta and all that fun jazz that everybody likes to hear me talk about, I guess. So if you guys are tuning in and you guys were part of the paint stream, I think I did paint stream 2 days ago. You'll notice that I did fix the crackling of the mic, and that ended up being the camera that I bought, oddly enough. The camera I bought was interfering with the microphone because it was something to do with the way the interface worked for it. So, and I went ahead and fixed that. So, it required me to go to good old Best Buy and replace my camera. So, hopefully this, so this is a Logitech camera that I'm using right now, and hopefully the quality is not, I know it's not as good as what the GoPro was putting out. The neat thing about it, though, is that it pivots, and so I can actually kind of get it a lot closer to the action, which is awesome, because I want you guys to actually see what I'm doing, you know. With the GoPro, I had to keep raising up Morty to actually show what I was actually accomplishing. But today, so for the paint stream, you know, usually I answer a lot of questions and stuff. If you guys want to hold on to questions for the actual live stream, if you guys are going to come back, I can answer them then. Because I am more focused on painting Mortarian today. So at this point of my Mortarian painting skills, badassery, I don't know. So at this point, I've base coated everything on Morty. I'm actually going to touch up the end of the gun because I've realized so this was a second-hand Mortarian for you guys who haven't been following the stream for the paint streams. And the guy that I got it from, because I bought it second-hand, he did not paint the end of the gun very well. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the end of the gun real quick. Now I've base coated everything. I actually went through and null and oiled the wings on my Nurglings here to give them like a ephemeral look. And I actually wash painted the Nurglings. So if you want to know about wash painting, check out the previous paint stream where I actually go pretty in depth on how I actually go through and do my wash paints. One of our patrons, Mickey, so hi Mickey, if you, oh crap, I need to go get 1 second, I gotta go grab a paper towel. I realized I just threw both that away. 1 second. Alright. We're back to get some paper towel. Alright, but yeah, as I was saying, Mickey, one of our patrons, he was curious on how to wash paint models, and so I went into like a small tutorial on how I wash paint stuff. So hopefully that'll help Mickey out, and his, he's painting a bunch of Poxwalkers right now, so I told him that's how I painted all mine, and he was curious as to how I did it. But, so if you guys are curious on how I painted my Nurglings, you guys can check that out. And so right now I'm just putting some, I'm a huge fan of Balthasar Gold. Now I know it doesn't pick up washes nearly as well as a lighter gold, but for Death Guard models, I think that it's really, really neat. I don't like bright colors on my Death Guard models. I like them to be really gritty, so I aim more for realism. Now, I'm not like one of those super hyper realistic painters, you know, because I'm I'm not at that skill level yet, but I do like how my models turn out. And I actually got a lot of comments yesterday because I took the Nurgle Demon Engines out for a stroll. Went and played some orcs yesterday. And the orc guy I was playing, he ran. So sorry, I paused for a second because I wanted to see if the stream had frozen. So I need to reposition this camera. So I really like this camera for this reason, and that I can actually position it where I need it, and it's not very hard to do. But yeah, yesterday I went through and faced some orcs. The guy had 120 grots. And it was really interesting. It was a really interesting list. Had a lot of fun. So I know Arthur doesn't really watch the live stream. So shout out to Arthur, who was my opponent yesterday. And it was a lot of fun. He brought lots of Ludas. 25 Ludas. Or no, 30 Ludas. He had 30 Ludas. And yeah, it was just really, it was a really interesting list. So I had a lot of fun playing Arthur yesterday. So I finished the end of the gun. Now, while I was tilting the model, I noticed that I had gotten some paint on one of the flames where I did not want some paint. So now I had to go through and white up on this flame to fix it. So I paint differently from a lot of people because I actually, you know, a lot of the really good painters, they'll go through and do like a part of the model at a time. Oh, hey, how's it going, King Goat? Welcome for being at the stream today. I've not seen your name, so are you new to the channel or just swinging by? Saw I was live streaming. Yeah, Balthasar is definitely the best. Just finished doing 10 Terminators. Oh, nice. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, Balthasar Gold's really, really nice because I love Typhus Corrosion, and it lends itself really well to darkening, you know, that rust effect. And some of the orbs I didn't repaint. Like I said, this is a secondhand model, so I've left them like the brighter gold. And I think that'll give a nice, varying contrast of the different colors. So, all right, so I've touched up that white. And yeah. So at this point, Mortarion should be ready for some washes. So we'll go through and do some washes. But as I was saying, yeah, so I played Arthur yesterday in his 120 grots and 30 ludas with the Demon Engines. And it was a very, very interesting game. Arthur... He's a newer player, so. Oh, nice! Heck yeah! Well, welcome to one of my live streams. So, like I've been telling people on these paint streams, the paint streams are just kind of whenever I feel the want to paint, because it actually it drives me to paint more when I actually know people are watching me, because I think I have a habit of, you know, you start painting. And then you're like, I did like one or two pieces of the model. I'm good. I'm going to go watch TV or play a video game or cruise on Facebook. And so doing the live streams, I think, is a way to like keep me honest and be like, all right, well, I need to paint a little bit more of this model than I would normally like to. But no, welcome. I'm glad that you found the channel. And hopefully I'm putting out content that you enjoy. So I always look for suggestions for content. Now, right now, I am still in the process of moving, so next weekend is the actual move date, so thank God it is finally here. And so, hopefully, after this coming weekend, I'll be able to start filming battle reports and stuff again, so. Because I've been getting a few games in. I did keep, like I said, I went and got my Nurgle Demon Engines list from my new house, because it was all packed up and easy to get to. And so I have been getting a few games in, but I have not been filming any of my games. All right. So the bottom of the white, so like I said in the last stream, I'm trying to like fade the cloak into like a wispy, like blue. And so I'm going with, what is it, Uthan gray on just pretty much like the tips of the flames here. And so I'm just kind of taking the Uthuan gray and I'm just kind of splotching it over the bottom of my flames here. Oh, what up, Jake? Welcome, buddy. So like I said in the Discord channel, I was just kind of doing a paint stream right now just because, you know, might as well. So the actual live stream will be after this. So if you guys are here for the actual live stream, I still got a couple hours and then I'll be doing the actual live stream. But I wanted to get some paint on Mortarian today. And then after this, and then the live stream, I've actually got a game lined up with a guy at the store. His name's Matt. And I'm going to be playing some Iron Hands with the Demon Engines. So I fully expect to lose that game. I'm getting mentally prepared to lose that game right now. And so, but it'll be a great learning experience, I feel like. It'll give me an opportunity to see kind of like how I'll deal with that matchup. I fully expect to face that a few times in the GTs that I'm about to go to. It seems like the Air Force version has picked up a lot of steam. So if you guys have BCP, you know, you guys can go in and I believe Battle for Salvation is a sponsored tournament. But if you go in there, it'll give you an idea of kind of the Iron Hands lists that are doing really well. Right now, there's 4 Iron Hands in the top 12. And none of them are, well, I mean, they all feature the flyers, the Stormhawk Interceptors and the Stormhawk gunships and stuff like that. But none of them have the Executioners. So oddly enough, the Executioner variant did not make it into the top 12. So, and I feel like it's mostly due to its lack of mobility. I actually had this discussion yesterday with a guy at the shop. He brought some Iron Hands. He's like, oh man, it's so overpowered. And I was like, yeah, well, it is. If you've got line of sight to shoot everything, then obviously you're going to blow things off the table. Because I feel like the Iron Hands are pretty much the Castellan. And which means they're going to win a gunfight. You are not going to beat them in a head-to-head gunfight, so don't try to beat them in a head-to-head gunfight. You need to play your game while they play their game. So I agree, Jake. The issue with filming it is that I do not have, and that's actually why I haven't been filming it. I don't have I had dropped off all my filming stuff except for like my stream cam and all that stuff. And so I can't really do it. I mean, I could do like one of my shortened battle reports, but yeah. And that's kind of the issue. Also, at the same point, it's allowing me to kind of like refocus on the game. Because I found when I do a battle report filming, I tend to like start forgetting a lot of basic rules and stuff because I'm so busy focused on like filming and I make movement mistakes and stuff. So I'm just kind of like taking a bit of a backseat to filming too. So this is kind of nice because it gives me a break from that, from filming every game. And also it allowed me to, you know, so if you guys noticed, I did a live stream or interview with Scary from Scarredcast. And I'm doing a lot more of that sort of stuff too. I feel like it's great information getting, you know, pretty much tournament tips from the guys who are out there winning these events and kind of what they're seeing. Because, you know, Scary is #1 Drukhari player, but he faces more chaos than he probably cares to admit. And so I feel like it's great information to find out not only what are these guys playing, so you guys can look out for it, but at the same point, you get to get their impression of our faction from a different viewpoint. Because as a guy who plays Chaos exclusively, I have my thoughts, but then when you talk to your buddies who play like Space Marines all the time, or guys who play Xenos, it's kind of interesting to ask them, what do you feel like in my list is the most threatening thing? And oftentimes you're going to find that players who don't play your faction have a completely different view on what's threatening and what's not, which I think is really interesting, So, like, as example, spoiler alert, so when I talked to Scary, he said that he doesn't like seeing greater brass scorpions at Khorne. And we don't often see a lot of greater brass scorpions. So, a little bit of food for thought. Just thinking about, hey, greater brass scorpion, if you got one, maybe test it out. Throw it on the table a couple times. Only thing that holds me back from buying one is cost. Those things are expensive. And I would be interested to hear, like, if you do have a greater brass scorpion, how it does for you. Also seeing a lot of chitin ravagers lately on tournament, hopping in BCP and looking at like tournament lists and stuff. So seems like people are trying to get away from like Chaos Knights and go more towards like mono Chaos and mono builds if they can. So for all my bright white, so I use White Scar White for all the flames and stuff and the bottom of the cloak here. And what I'm doing is I'm taking Uthauan Gray, it's like the lightest gray I think that GW sells. And I'm just kind of going through and I'm touching on all the raised portions of all the white. And so what it's doing is, like, it'll give me a nice, like, almost a pre-shade. So I'm going to actually make all the flames. So all the flames are actually going to be made of the Night Haunt Gloom. And so what I want is that varying contrast of the flame. I don't want the flames to be all one color. So the gray is going to make it so that the flames will actually like kind of shift colors throughout the flames and give that cool shifting look that I'm kind of going for right now. So, and then I will actually go over and I will dry brush the Uthauan Gray when I'm done. And I actually learned some of this technique from watching some of the GW streams and some other paint streams. And Uthauan Gray is actually a very nice color. Like, there's a lot you can do with it, depending on what you're trying to do, Now, obviously, you can just, like, if you love the Night Haunt Gloom or the Hex Wraith Flame, really, if you just base coat it and dump that stuff on, which is what I did for my Blightlord Terminators, their flails, it still turns out really nice. Like, I have no complaints on how my flails turned out for my Blightlords. Alright. So, and I'm not trying to be like super precise with this gray either. I kind of want it to look sloppy, because that way when I do the blue, it's not going to look like, because smoke clouds and things like that aren't very they're not well constructed. They're very random, and so that's kind of the effect I'm going for here. So, all right, so I've hit all the flames with my gray. Go ahead and rinse off my brush. Let's see. Oh, nice. Good job, Jake. Yeah, you got to solidify a list and get it in. Make sure you get it in on time. My list is due November 2nd, I believe. And I'm pretty sure I'm solidified on my list. They did not hide the lists at this GT. And so the reason why I'm holding off on submitting it is because I don't want people to basically plan around the fact because I don't know how many Chaos players are actually showing up. And so I don't want people to like kind of pre-plan for facing my Nurgle Demon engines, because I'm planning on trying to be like a Dark Horse style list and just kind of sneak up and take some people by surprise, and they're like, what the hell is this? Never faced anything quite like it. So that's kind of my plan. But obviously if you're going for a meta list, you know. What's your goal for your first GT, Jake? You gonna try to win the whole thing? Or are you gonna try to go like 4-1, or always going to a GT with a goal? My friend's answer to what is the most threatening thing is Morty. Yep, I agree. Morty can definitely kill things. Definitely. So, Greater by Scorpion is one day. Yeah, I know you have access to tons of models, Jake. So Jake, he actually his uncle plays Chaos, and his dad plays Chaos. So he has access to pretty much every model ever. If he doesn't own it, one of those two guys do. And so a lot of people envy him on our Discord channel, because he just pretty much plays whatever the hell he wants, which is cool. Like, that's really cool. I wish there was more guys in my area that played Chaos. I have nobody to borrow models from, so I just kind of play with what I have, you know. I mean, the guys that do play, there's a few, but they don't paint their stuff. That's the biggest issue I find, is I can't find painted models. So, like, if there's something I want to test out for a tournament or something, I can't go to a friend and borrow something, because, you know, you go to a tournament with one unpainted model, well, now you're all of a sudden out of the running for best painted. Or if they're using hobby scores, which hobby scores have been on the uptick, which I highly support. I think hobby scores should always be a thing at an event. You need to show appreciation for the guys who put in the time and effort to, you know, paint their models and do the work, you know. Because there's tons of guys that'll show up to an event with just a bare plastic army, and honestly, a lot of guys, especially when you talk to the experienced tournament players, you know, they find it kind of insulting to go to like a Rogue Trader tournament and face a gray army, or you go to a GT, you know, that's why GTs have minimum painting standards. But yeah, no, so back to my original point, the fact that I can't borrow models from other people because they don't have painted models kind of sucks. Because there's a lot of stuff that I would love to test out, but yeah, I need to find a painted whatever it is that I'm trying to test out to take to a tournament or whatever. Now, I'm not to say, like, please, you know, show support to your store or whatever, but and go show up, even if you got bare plastic models, if that's all you have. But I think that you do need to show progression, you know. Like, the cool thing about doing this YouTube thing is that it's kind of spurred me to the point where, you know, right now I'm painting Mortarion, but if there is a new model that I really feel like might have some merit at a tournament or whatever, I need to get it painted. That way I can, you know, take it out there to these events. But I definitely think hobby scores are a thing, and they should be a thing. So if you're a TO or you're looking to be a TO, definitely find a way to support the hobbyists at your store. Because you'll even have those guys that, like, they're not there to win the event or whatever, but even a best painted, you know, award. And actually, when I do my best painted awards at my, so, you know, I've TO'd a couple events now. For both events, the best painted award was pretty much equivalent to the third place trophy. So now I will say, it kind of sucks if, you know, the guy who got best painted also wins the tournament, because now he's pretty much gotten, you know, double the prize support, which is crazy. But yeah, is what it is. So oh, we got even more people. Hey, what's up, David? Welcome, buddy. So still painting Mortarion. So I just put down my wash of Nuln Oil on his base. So I'm a big proponent in Nuln Oil for, like, grays and stuff. And his rocks on the bottom are all painted gray. Now the rocks from Mortarian actually have like a bunch of like pus and stuff that are boiling out of them, and I'm actually just going to fill those up with Nurgle's Rot. I'm being real lazy with the base, but I typically don't like put in a ton of work on the base. I put a lot more work on the model, but that's just the way I paint. So, but yeah. So King Goat, he says, I've been sort of mishmashing Ahriman Blue mixed with Strachan Green for my flame. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I like that idea. Ahriman Blue. Well, I don't have either of those colors, I don't think. Yeah, no, I don't. No, that's a great idea. I really like that idea, King Goat. That might be something to try in the future, so definitely look that up. And we said hi to David. So 3 and 2 is your goal. No, that's a good goal. Yeah, you're going to have TJ Lanigan there, so TJ's got a new list, you know, and see, that's weird that y'all don't use BCP at your local club, especially being that highly competitive, because BCP, I think, is kind of like a standard app. And the reason why we're talking about this is because he actually posted a list that was really interesting, and I'll be talking about on the live stream today. And I was not able to find it in BCP, and I asked him, I was like, where's that at in BCP? And he's like, well, my store doesn't use BCP, so y'all need to use BCP. And yeah, no, that's good, Jake. That's good that you're. Well, I mean, it's also a positive because you've got 3 separate people. You know, your uncle, your dad, and you all painting models. So y'all probably get a ton of painted stuff done really, really fast, which is great. And that means you can test out a lot of different stuff. That is my phone. Let me check my phone. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got... Oh, yeah. Somebody replied to one of my videos, so I'll have to reply to him in it here in a bit. All right. So, man, I shouldn't have null and oiled the base. I'm an idiot. Nah, it'll be fine. So at this point, I'm going to go through... And I'm actually going to... So usually I do a 2-stage shading for all my metal, which is Agrax Earthshade and then Nolan Oil. I think for Morty, though, I'm going to actually do my Druchii Violet first. So I'm using Druchii Violet for his cloak, because his cloak's purple. Now, a lot of people are not... they'll shade like Nolan Oil or... a heavier shade over things. I love to use the shade of the color that I'm actually coloring. And I don't know why, but to me it just because it supports the color rather than, maybe I should do Nolan Oil. Yeah, Nolan Oil might be better for this one. Because whenever I do the purple, it deepens the purple. And so I actually do that for my Thousand Suns are actually purple. And as a matter of fact, the reason why I do purple Thousand Suns, just so you guys know, was because we had a dedicated Thousand Suns player here. Like, all he would play is Thousand Suns and Dark Angels. And he had a bad habit of pretty much, like, if you didn't play Thousand Suns how they were supposed to, he would trash talk you all the time. And so when I painted my first Ahriman, which is the 30k Ahriman, when I painted him, I painted him purple. And the reason why I painted him purple was because I had a thought in my head. I was like, purple would look really cool on this Ahriman model. And so I painted him purple and I put it online, and it turned out really, really nice. And that's actually the first model I did my method of doing purple on. And so this guy, he gets on the photo and then just starts trash talking me because, he's like, purple Thousand Suns shouldn't exist. That is Slaaneish's color and blah, 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 blah. And he's on and on and on about it. And so after that, I was like, you know what? I can paint my models whatever the hell I want. So after that point, all my Thousand Suns are now purple. Now the guy has since moved away. And he's not here anymore, but, I've already committed to the purple Thousand Suns, and so I'm going to stay purple Thousand Suns. So, interesting little story there. But I support everybody painting their models, you know. And I don't care how you paint them, honestly, as long as they're painted. As long as they're painted and you're putting in the effort. Even if you pay somebody, you know. If you're one of those guys that has tons of money and you want to commission somebody, please, 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 by all means, at least then you're not playing with unpainted models and you're supporting, a local hobbyist, because there are some amazing painters out there that do some commission painting, and I kind of at times wish, so like for my kill teams, I'm actually in the process of finding a commission for them, because I do not have the motivation to go through and paint all my kill teams when it's like a secondary game to me, And so, so I want to get those commission painted. I just need to find somebody who will commission paint my kill teams for a decent price. Like, the issue is a lot of commission painters are, at least in my area, they're very, very, very proud of their prices. And while I get that you are running a service, there is a certain price where customers, I feel like, won't pay. Especially, my degree is in business, and they teach you, you got to price yourself well. And we've got like some brand new commission painters around here that are like, there was one guy, can't remember his name, but he was charging by point of army, and it was kind of ridiculous, like the amount he was charging for models. What was it? It was like $1 for every 10 points or $1 per point of the model or something like that. So, for example, a guardsman would be like $4 to commission paint, which, when you think about it, $4 isn't bad, but a whole squad of 10, that's $40, and then, you go from there. And it's not like he offered different levels of painting or anything, I'll get you a 3-color standard for 25 cents a model if it's just a guardsman or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, I guess my point is, if you're a commission painter, you got to price yourself well. Especially because he was a newer commission painter, and he painted really, really well. Don't get me wrong, like his painting was top notch, but he had to get some customers going, I was fully willing to pay to get a few things commissioned, but at that price, I was like, oh, hell no. So, like this Mortarian right here, at $1 a point, you guys can kind of do the math. This Mortarian would be definitely untenable. Like, I would pay like $50 or $100 for somebody to commission paint my Mortarian, if I weren't already painting it. So if you guys are I'm sure there's some comments going on in the chat. I'm trying to focus on this cloak right now. Need to get all the Nolan oil on it. And so the chains on his robe actually came to me pre-shaded, because this is a second-hand model for you guys who did not know. And I'm going over them again with Nolan oil, and it's going to darken them even more. But I do intend to go through with my rust effect, and I'm going to rust the hell out of everything on this model. There's going to be so much rust. I'm going to have a rusty Mortarian. But that's because that's how my Death Guard look. They're incredibly rusty. I love rust. Rust on models. Not in real life. Rust in real life is real bad. I'm an aircraft mechanic, and corrosion is not a good thing on planes. So you go through a lot of training on how to prevent corrosion and what to look out for corrosion and all that sort of stuff. So, alright, so I finished the cloak. I'm going through and I'm touching on all of his tubes, all of his metal pieces. I'm literally going to Nolan oil the hell out of this model. I actually like the meme where they say, there's like a guy, and it's like Nolan oil, and then the guy like dumps, it's like a bucket of Gatorade or something, he just dumps it on something, and they're like, and I think really that is true. For a lot of painters, Nuln Oil is like the holy grail of stuff. But normally I would go through and do both Agrax Earthshade and Nuln Oil, but I'm trying a different method this time. Mostly because like I've been recommended to try this, so I'm trying this. So, and we'll see how it turns out. I don't think it'll turn out bad at all. Like at all, but it might not turn out exactly how I want it, you know? But I'm going through and I'm hitting all the metal. Now, I do have a tube up here in between his smokestacks that I was not able to really get to, so it's still the base Death Guard green. I'm going to hit that with the Nuln Oil just to kind of shade it in a little bit, and then my hope is, because I cannot paint it because of the way the model is built when I got it, my hope is that people just kind of don't notice it. So it's just going to look like a green shaded hose in the back. But I love secondhand models. The only issue is, you know, if somebody messed up on building it or messed up on something with it, you're kind of stuck with it unless you want to like really fix it. This Mortarian was already like base coated or started base coating and had all the, you know, pre-shades done and wings magnetized and everything. So I was just like, you know what? I fixed his base because he was actually falling off the base. And one of the Nurglings is missing a wing, but other than that, it was in good condition. So I just kind of fixed what I could, and now we're painting it. So, and that's where we're at. Oh, let me look up for a second here. Depends on the store. I have 3 stores with an hour review. Okay, yeah, no, that's good. I would get that 3rd store on board with BCP. Magnus is blue and green. Huh, that's interesting. You'll have to share a picture of yours, Jake. I'd be interested in seeing it, so. Oh, man, Valenhai. You're painting Golden Terminator? Are you painting Custodes? Want to give a closer look on camera of that Mortarian? So, let's see. So, I'm actually trying to get this camera pretty close. Let's see. We're going to try to adjust the camera real quick. I'm moving all my paints out of the way because they're around the base. Alright, let's see. And so let's see how close this actually gets to Mortarian. And I'm going to adjust the light real quick. Now. Ah! That's way too bright. Alright. Well, so Valenhai, I know you were here the other day. I actually had to replace the camera, and so it's not as high resolution as the GoPro that I was using. And because of that, it's a little blurrier to see the Mortarian here. Supposedly this thing has a autofocus or something, but yeah, it's just... So, hopefully you guys... I've been sharing pictures of Mortarian as I finish him on the Discord channel and on the Facebook page. So, if you guys are part of either of those... like I say, I talk about how I paint him and as I paint him. The actual finished photos, the nice photos, I share on those 2 methods. Because, like I said, I know on the live stream it's kind of hard to tell some of the things that I talk about or what I do. You know, like my shading methods or... like the other day I did, you know, Demon Prince wings on stream, and you know, talked about how I shaded in the wings, but I was like, man, looking at the video, you can't really tell what I was doing, so I wanted to go ahead and share a photo of the finished product, and so that way you guys can come back to the streams if you want to and just kind of copy what I'm doing. So let's see. So right now I'm actually shading Nuln Oil all over the place on him. So I'm hitting all the Balthasar. So I use Balthasar Gold for my trim for all my Death Guard. It's a lot darker. It's a lot darker than the normal gold, and I like that. I like it because it kind of fits the dark theme of the Death Guard. And when I got this model, he actually had in like a really bright gold. I don't know what gold that they used, but it was really, really bright for like everything. And I just thought it was just way too shiny for something that you know, these guys literally live on a planet of decay and just nastiness. So, and I feel like Nolan Oil or Balthasar Gold is always a great trim color. So, and no, I'm glad Valentine. I'm glad that you want to paint Mortarion. I recommend it. Now, I will say my favorite model that I've painted so far of all the models that I've painted is by far the Feculent Narmal. That model is just awesome. Awesome model. Now, you guys never see me play with it. I did play with it when they were 50 points, and they were they're very, very good models. And at 50 points, it was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to play these things all the time. At 85 points that they're at now, it's really hard to justify a detachment for just the Feculent Narmal. Now, you could justify the detachment if you're running Mortarion, like this guy. Because it actually makes Mortarion be able to advance in charge and shoot all in one turn, which is really, really powerful. Because when you consider that you can actually do the warp time shenanigans, you can actually give Mortarion up to an extra 12 inches of movement. So if you're like on a long deployment or something like that, you can actually bomb Mortarion pretty deep at your enemy if you're running a Feculent Narmal. It's just a lot of people can't find a detachment for the Feculent Narmal. We've actually discussed this a lot on the Discord channel that, I feel like the fortification, the fortification detachment, sorry, I'm trying to focus on these spikes on his shin guard here. But the fortification network, I mean, like, it's cool that we have a detachment that does that, but I think that you don't really see a lot of fortifications because we have to give up CP and basically functionality of the detachments to allow me to take a fortification that might do something maybe. And so you kind of have to build with that in mind. But I do love the Feculent Narmal. But so yeah, that's why you guys don't see mine. I painted it and I love the way it turned out. Like, I'm super proud of it. I still to this day feel like it's the best model I've painted. And I had a lot of fun painting it because there's just so many little things on it. And I actually converted mine too. So you guys know that I am a chronic converter. I like convert everything. And while the Feculent Narmal itself is a great model, I felt like it could use more. And so I actually, it's not here right now, so I'll have to get you guys some pictures of it. But, so like I converted a bunch of Space Marine heads and stuff, like they were coming out the side of the tree. Because, the Feculent Narmal eats people and eats things. That's why there's all the blood and skulls and stuff on its base. And, so what I did was I actually took like Space Marine heads and I think there's an Orc head too on it, but out the side of it, kind of how like I do my so when I do my like wall of faces on a lot of models, which I've shown in a few videos on how I do that. But what I did was I actually did that, but with Space Marine heads. And so what it looks like is that the Feculent Narmal has been eating Space Marines, and their heads are kind of just like embedded in it. And because the Feculent Narmal kind of gets its power from, I'm assuming Nurglings drag hapless victims to it, and so on top of that, I actually put Nurglings hanging all over the tree too, with a bunch of my Nurglings that you get in pretty much every box. And so what it does is it looks like these Nurglings are just kind of partying around the Feculent Narmal, and they've dragged victims to it. So. I absolutely, like, if you can't tell, I absolutely love that model. And it is by far my favorite model to paint, and it's really cheap. I believe they're $30 a piece now. They were $25 when I bought mine. I think that they've gone up slightly in price since then, but Totally worth it just to paint it, even if you don't get it on the table for a little while, while we're waiting for some changes to the game. And I actually do put it on the table occasionally. So my newbie friendly army, I like to call it, is just mono Nurgle demons. And so when I'm actually playing a brand new guy to the game that wants to throw down 2K or whatever, I'll actually just drag out just mono Nurgle demons, and it's literally just plague bearers and some plague drones and with a feculent narmal. Now, I always warn them, I'm like, hey, this is what this does, but just so you know, I'm just a close combat army, so, if I'm facing somebody who has a lot of shooting or whatever, generally speaking, I give them, like, the first turn, and it's not a super hard army by any means. It can definitely win the game, and I think every newbie game I've played, I've won, but it doesn't have like a lot of tricks. Its only trick is really to slingshot some plague bearers at you. But what I do it to show my opponent kind of like the power of the close combat phase and how to position. Or I also use it against guys that are getting back into the game that might have a grasp of the basic rules, but they're still just like, well, I've got an army and I just kind of want to throw down a game. And I'm like, okay, I'll just drag out the mono Nurgle demons, and I'll just play this. And I tell them, I'm like, this isn't a super competitive army, but it can win, so this is what it does. And I actually tell them what it does. And so if they fall for the tricks, because I literally tell them, hey, these plague bearers, they can advance and charge. They move 7 inches base plus whatever I advance. And these plague drones can also advance and charge, so you need to watch out. And then if they put themselves like 18 inches from me, I'm like, all right, well, I told you. What was it? I saw a meme the other day. I'm a big meme guy. Sorry, I'm just kind of rambling right now. I know that you guys have probably posted some comments. I'm trying to save all the questions for the actual live stream itself. So I'm not by any means ignoring you guys, but I do, if you guys have like super questions about the meta or whatever, save them for the live stream, please. The weekly live stream, which will commence here in about an hour and a half. So I'll probably take like a 10-minute break between them, between painting Mortarian and doing the live stream, But anyways, yeah. So I saw a meme the other day, and it's kind of true. I feel like. Being a competitive person, I'm not like, I try not to be the dickish competitive person, but at the same point, I won't just like kind of roll over and let people win often. I'll let my wife do it sometimes. Hi, wife. Sometimes, not all the time. But the meme said, I try to be a cool dad, but I'm not the dad that allows my kids to beat me in Mario Kart sort of dad. Because, a lot of people will play like video games with their little kids and, let them win. Or you guys play, Monopoly or board games with your kids and you're just like, oh, yeah, I'll just, let little Johnny win. And it's good because, it boosts self-esteem. But everybody has that game where it's like, no, and it's funny too. Because, me and my wife would play Mario Kart with my daughter, and I would purposely lose to allow my daughter to win. And my wife would, like, just go all out and just, like, whoop our asses. And then I asked her one night, I'm like, do you, like, never let Dale's the name of my daughter. I was like, do you ever let Dale win? And she's like, nope. She's like, when you play Mario Kart, you play hard. And yeah, so she plays Mario Kart. My wife's very good at Mario Kart. That's kind of her jam. So, and she's also a highly, highly competitive person too. So I try not to play certain games with her because I actually made her quit playing Carcassonne with me. So here's another interesting story. I'm a big board gamer. I love board games. If you guys have the means or whatever, I highly recommend you get into board gaming. It's a not only a natural extension of wargaming, but at the same point, there's some really cool mechanics that these board game designers have come up with that I would like to see make their way into like tabletop games. And so the first one that I got her to play with me was Carcassonne. And so Carcassonne is a game where you like place down tiles and you build like farms and stuff, and you score points based on kind of like how the map, how you play the map. And so when we started playing the game, you know, I kind of like took it a little easier on her, you know, because you want somebody to enjoy the game initially, and I wasn't like going hard to beat her because I wanted her to get into board games. And so she really got into it. She got really good at it. And so, you know, then I started playing harder and harder. And then, you know, we were pretty evenly matched. And we would win probably equal amounts all the time. Well, we took it over to her parents' house. And she's like, man, you guys have to play this game. You have to play this game. And so we started playing the game. Well, I won a game that night. And she's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll get you next time. Well, then I won, I think, 3 or 4 more times, like, and it was pretty overwhelming victories too. It wasn't like light victories, because we were starting to get, you know, pretty hardcore into it. And it was funny because after those games, my win streak, she has refused to play Carcassonne with me. So, and she'll even tell people, she's like, nope, I don't play that bullshit game. And she'll even tell people, and I get it. So one game that I absolutely hate playing, and it kind of got ruined for me, which I actually found out the other day that mathematically they've proven that there is a way that you can win this game pretty much every game if you do it a specific way, and that is Catan. So Settlers of Catan, which I know is a gateway game for a lot of people, you know, and some people have fond memories or fond thoughts of it, but I hate that game to death. And that's because I would play it at work. I would take it with me to work when I pulled alert on planes. And we would play that because there's nothing else to do when you're stuck at work for 20 plus hours. And there's some guys that really ruined that game for me. Because there was one guy, man, like you could bully him into pretty much anything if you just kept teasing him. And so we had one guy that played that... he was one of those guys that would just like kind of poke the bear. He was kind of this poke the bear kind of person. And so he just kept poking the guy. He's like, hey, trade me this, trade me this, trade me this, trade me this. And finally the guy traded it to him. I'm like, are you dumb? Because it gave him the game. And this happened time and time and time and time again, to the point where I was like, all right, y'all can play my game, but I'm done playing it. I should have stopped playing it altogether. So I get it. I 100% get it. Because I was like, this is kind of like ridiculous that, you know, you constantly fall for this guy goading you to trade him certain things, and you know that it's going to give him the game, but you just do it so he'll leave you alone. I was like, at this point, why do you even play, man? It's funny. It's funny. I got a lot of stories. I'm older, not old, but so. But yeah, that was me rage quitting Settlers of Catan. So don't ever offer me a game of Settlers of Catan, because I will not play that game. Nope. I do want to play Gloomhaven though. That's one board game I have not bought, and I've been wanting to buy, and I like the miniatures in it, and I like the way the game plays, and how people have communicated to me how it plays. The guy I'm about to move in with, so I guess my roommate, he has it, so I'm kind of excited because hopefully we'll sit down and play a game. Maybe I'll start doing like Heretic board gaming or something and show you guys some board games. Do some live streams of board games. I know Scary is actually doing that with Blackstone Fortress, which is pretty interesting. I like legacy games, so legacy games, for you guys who might not know, are games that evolve as you play them more. So Gloomhaven is actually an example of a legacy game. D&D, so it's pretty much like D&D. You know, your characters grow, the maps change, and stuff like that. But and so yeah, I'm a huge fan of legacy games. I love them, and I love the fact that they grow and change with you as you play, and they get harder or whatever. And yeah, which makes for a lot of fun, and then it's something that you can progressively play in certain ways. So, all right, so I think I've hit the whole model with Null and Oil. Sorry, I'm just inspecting my work real quick. I want to make sure I did not. So his staff, it's brown, and I'm actually going to go over that with Agrax Earthshade. I like Agrax Earthshade on wooden. Oh, I forgot these spikes. I like Agrax Earthshade on wooden things because it just kind of deepens the wood look. That's a personal thing. That's a personal thought there. All right. Actually, the Nuln Oil looks really cool. Me, I'm not like one of those guys that slap Nuln Oil on everything. This is the first time I've pretty much done it, but it darkened it up really nicely. Yeah, really nicely. So, there might be some merit to that meme after all. Excuse me. Burped. All right. Oh, hi there. All sorts of comments. All right. So, Valentine, sad day. You have Custodes. No, some people love the Custode models. I personally do not like the Custode models. I think that they're just way too ornate, and they just, I don't know. There's something about them I really don't like, but hey, support you guys playing other armies too, so. I'm thinking of building Mortarion for a while now, but replacing Nurglings with Flaming Flying Skulls like the Doom. Actually, that's a cool idea. If you do that, you guys share some photos. That's actually really, really cool. I like that idea. Yeah, I don't know where you would get something like that. I mean, I guess you could, like, green stuff some skulls, like, because you can buy that skull kit with all the different size skulls and stuff, and you could probably take those and, like, green stuff some flames off the back or something. I know some of the Tzeentch models, you can actually, like, build them without the flames. The Chariot of Tzeentch comes with a lot of, like, flames that come out the back, so you could always use those flames to go ahead and, you know, glue them on the back of the skulls. That might be actually something you could look into. Oh yeah, so Casey, MC Crasso, I'm actually going to, I am going to stream actually after this. So at 11 a.m. I'm going to do my normal live stream. So lately I've been doing painting streams because it drives me to paint the model that I'm painting. And then on top of it, it just kind of like gives me company while I'm painting, so you guys can paint stuff and we can just talk about whatever. But yes, after this, we are going to do a normal live stream, so I'm not going to cover lists or tactics or anything like that. And my paint stream, I just kind of talk about whatever we're talking about. Your dad never let you win, Jake. That's why you're so competitive. You're like, I'm going to beat everybody. Oh man, no, that's good though. I think it teaches you a lesson, and yeah, I don't remember my dad ever letting me win games either. I think that he was really he was really not strict, but I don't remember him ever letting me win anything, and I think that's kind of what kind of drove my competitive spirit a little bit, because I feel the need to like kind of prove myself when I'm doing stuff. But no, that's that. Now I get it. So, oh yeah, that's also a good idea, Jake. For those flames, you could always give that idea to somebody with a 3D printer, and they could try to make you one. So if you got a buddy with a 3D printer or know somebody with it, so that's actually a great idea. No, that's awesome, Jake. So yeah, I've heard Gloomhaven is a lot of fun. And yeah, I highly look forward to it. So actually, my favorite board game of all time, as of right now, so we're talking in the current time frame, is actually a game called Mage Knight. And so Mage Knight is kind of like a scaled down version of what I'm assuming what Gloomhaven is, you know, because Gloomhaven, you build the maps and stuff out of tiles. And that's kind of what Mage Knight is. Mage Knight's more of a deck builder / board game, which is a lot of fun. Because you build as your character levels up and gets stronger, you get more cards, which makes your deck stronger, which means you can defeat more stuff, which is really fun. I'm a huge fan of deck builders. Deck building is probably like one of my favorite mechanics in a game. I just hate when you play a deck builder where it feels like so Ascension lately, I've been playing that a lot on cell phone. I bought like all the expansions and started playing it, and that game, like, you can see the game going south really early, and it feels really bad because you're like, man, there's nothing I can do about this. This guy's about to crush me. And I know it probably doesn't feel fun for the opponent when you concede, but it's like, man, you've totally won this game. I'm not going to waste like the next 20 minutes of my time. Well, you're just crushing my soul right now, so. Oh, sorry, I needed some water. But no, I look, yeah, highly recommend you guys look into some board games. And yeah. So right now the Nolan oil is drying all over Mortarian. It looks like I might be able to start hitting him with some different washes now. So I'm not going to actually touch him while the Nolan oil is drying. So at this point I'm going to do Druchii Violet, and I'm going to go over his fleshy bits. And I'm going to go over, so in the scythe I painted the little, it's almost like a crevice going down the back side of the scythe. And I painted that with pink. So that way this little crevice would stand out. Now I know this is probably hard for you guys to see on camera. I apologize, but I can't really lift the model and paint him without messing up all the washes that are drying right now. And so Druchii Violet's also going on all the fleshy bits. So for his for Mortarian's flesh, I did Scrag Brown. So it's like kind of an orangey brownish color. And then I'm washing it with Druchii Violet. Because Mortarian is supposed to be like darker skinned from whatever planet. Barbaros, or yeah, I can't remember the name of the planet right now, but so I know he's supposed to be like darker skinned. A lot of people like Rakarth flesh for him, which I do not have. Oh, I can actually hold the base to get his face. A lot of people like Rakarth flesh, which is like the traditional way to paint him, but Scrag Brown was actually it actually looks pretty good with the, oh yeah, actually that looks really good with the purple. And so I'm just touching, he doesn't have very much flesh showing, it's just kind of like the top of his cloak here. And on his hands and his face, you have a bit. So I'm just hitting those spots with the Druchii Violet. Yeah. And he's got his little bit on his hands, so I gotta do real quick. Do 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 do. There we go. Barbarous, thank you. Thank you. Yes. I could not remember it right now. I know it's like Barbarian, so that's like how I always remember it. But alright, so there's that. Spirit Island. I don't think I've heard of that game. What mechanics does Spirit Island use? I love board games. Like I'm not against going out and actually forking out money for a board game I've never played. This area, sadly, so one thing that I kind of got used to, so my previous station, oh crap, I forgot these spikes with the Nolan oil. Let me go ahead and get these. My previous duty station was actually Omaha, Nebraska. And while I was there, I got used to, there's a great place. It's called Spielbound, and it's a board game cafe. And I love board game cafes. Because not only did they have amazing coffee, but you know, you could go in and pay like $10 and just sit there all day and play all the board games you wanted. And it was awesome. And so I kind of missed that place because it was a great way, like if I heard about a new board game that sounded really interesting, I could just kind of hop into a board game cafe, you know, pay my $10 and, you know, go test out like a game that would, like a board game that might cost $100, and then kind of give me an idea of whether or not I would like want to go out and buy it, you know. And I was actually highly interested. I think board game cafes are awesome. And if your town or whatever doesn't have one and you're a business guy, I would look into that. Because board game cafes are awesome. So, and yeah, it's just like I would, if you would recommend a game to me, I would actually go to the board game cafe and test it out. So, all right, so I have went ahead. I've washed the model with Nolan oil. I have washed all the Nurglings cloaks, and I've washed all the metal bits. I have hit the scythe. So now I'm going to go through, I'm going to hit all these spots that are bony. So like his bone spars up here, the skull on his pauldron here, his shoulder, the bony bits on his scythe with Seraphim Sepia. So Seraphim Sepia is really nice. I love the way that it looks. It really makes things look like, you know, they're bone, made out of bone. And it's really good. It's also a good like skin wash if that's the kind of the skin tone that you're going for, because it's kind of like a orangey yellowish wash. I would almost liken it kind of to like a lighter Agraxor's shade. But it's really, really great for like Nurgling horns. And actually, so a lot of the time when I do horns and stuff, I kind of do like a double shade. So I'll shade the whole horn with Seraphim Sepia, and then I just go through and I actually just kind of dab a little bit on the end of the horn. And what it does is just makes the end of the horn darker than the rest of the horn, and it gives it a really cool effect. And it's really simple to do. Like, you can actually wash over models multiple times to get like contrast, like fades and things like that, if that's something you're looking for. I'll actually show you guys Mortarian's wing here in a second, especially if you haven't been part of the live stream, to just kind of give you an idea of what the effect looks like, because it's what I used for his wing. The one wing that I actually went through and did. It was more or less to test it out to see if it would turn out well. And I like the way that it turned out, so I will go ahead and press with the way that I did the one wing, and that'll be that. But right now I'm just hitting all the horns of the Nurglings, so all the horns are hit. Boom. Now I'm going to hit the skull on his knee pad right here. I said pauldron earlier. He does have skulls on his pauldron too, but totally meant. Alright, so there we go. And it's really hard for you guys to see, I know, on this camera, but it just looks, the skull just looks awesome with the Seraphim Sepia. Like, it just kind of gets into all the cracks and makes it look like a real bony skull, you know? I know people get annoyed with all the skulls all over Chaos models. I think that they're badass, so not gonna lie. I'm a fan of skulls. Skulls on my models. I'll take them. I think it's just kind of one of those natural chaosy things, you know, bones and death, and it matches the theme of our army, and I might also have a fondness of skulls because I'm a metalhead too, so heavy metal is my music. I love heavy metal music. Death metal, melodic metal, speed metal, industrial metal, you name it. I don't really like, what do they call it, like black metal. I'm not really a huge fan of. I feel like black metal is just kind of like doom and destruction for the sake of doom and destruction, and that the sound of black metal doesn't really like jive with me. Viking metal, I love Viking metal because it just like, it's so like upbeat and empowering, like a Amon Amarth. It just feels like you're about to go march off to war, you know. Like, I'm about to go rape and pillage this village over here, and it's just really cool. I really love like Amon Amarth. If you're a metalhead, throw up your horns. Like I said, if I could, I would totally like hire a band to do like an intro song for the channel in heavy metal, just cause that'd be fun. But sadly, I do not have the fundage to do that yet. But eventually we'll do it. Oh, cooperative deck builder. Oh, that's cool. I love deck builders. That might be something to something to look into. See, I'm not a huge fan of Cannibal Corpse, but I do like Anthrax. Cannibal Corpse is just like my brother would listen to them, and I just did not like their sound at all. Because I don't think all metal is, made equally. Cannibal Corpse is just one of those bands I just don't like. That's just me. But now, like, I guess my favorite band. So what's your favorite band, Jake? Right now, currently. I'll wait until you answer, and then we'll have a discussion about favorite metal bands. So if you guys like metal out there, feel free, pitch in. Or hard rock. We'll extend to hard rock because I don't mind hard rock. Now, I'm not a rap or country guy. I'll listen to old country. Old country I'm fine with. And I guess 2000s rap I can tolerate. Like Jay-Z and Puff Daddy. And I think that's more because that when I was a teenager, that's the music everybody listened to. Except for me. I was listening to Korn and that sort of stuff. Korn was actually my gateway metal band. So, And to this day, I feel like Korn is still a very, very good band. I think a lot of people kind of write them off as being old or whatever, but they've kind of reinvented their sound over and over and over again, and they really haven't lost their metal roots, I know they're more like a dubstep now, like a dubstep metal band, but I kind of like that. It's just really interesting, and they're doing kind of their own thing, They're like, we're Korn, and we're just going to do what Korn does. And y'all will either like it or you won't like it. So, because when I was younger, especially when I was a teenager. So, as a great example, Iowa from Slipknot. So, Iowa was one of those albums, it came out after waiting, what was I can't remember the first album of Slipknot, the name of it right now. But, so, Iowa came out as a second album, and it was more like a death metal album, and a lot of people hated it. A lot of people gave it a lot of grief because they were just kind of like, it was really heavy compared to the first Slipknot album that was like mainstream. And when I go back now and listen to it, I think that it's actually a fantastic album. When I was a teenager, I get it, like, it might have been a little too much, especially for, somebody who, like, Korn and stuff like that was kind of my thing, Disturbed. But now that I go back to it and I'm more into, like, the heavier metal, totally dig it. I love Iowa as an album. I think, like, that it was kind of ahead of its time, you know what I mean? Byzantine Channing? Byzantine Channing. I don't even know what that would sound like. That's pretty awesome. Is that true? Is that true, Valentine, or are you just pulling my leg? Because I'd be interested. That's pretty funny. Oh, that's pretty cool. No, I would appreciate it. I would absolutely appreciate it, Jake. Give you some credit on the channel here. See, you don't have to support us with money. I know you always are like, I wish I could give you some money to support. But shit, if you want to make this a heavy metal intro, I would totally dig that. See, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, because I can't play instruments. I had never learned how to do it, and so I'm not very good. Now I'm going back through and actually hitting all the Seraphim Sepia areas again, because I like the bony color to be very deep. So I'm actually going through and hitting absolutely everything one more time. Now the nurgling horns, I'm just doing the ends, because I just want that, like I said, the fade from the tip of the horn to the base of the horns. There we go. And sorry, I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just trying to, and I think I still got an hour left, so I might be able to get some more of this guy done. And I think I'm going to go through and hit all the nurglings again with Beal Tan Green. They're really super light, which I don't mind. It's just I think I want them a little darker, because they look really like super light green. I I think Nurglings need to be a little deeper green. They look kind of like Gretchen right now. Older Arch Enemy. So Arch Enemy is a really, really good band. I love Arch Enemy. And I think the lead singer, I can never remember her name, but she is amazing. She is absolutely an amazing singer. So, and as a heavy metal like female singer, it's pretty crazy. Amaranth is a very good band that I like. They're kind of like, they're like melodic metal, but they kind of do like a lot of poppy. It's a very poppy metal, but I really like Amaranth, and that's a female singer too. I'm not a huge like Hailstorm. I don't like. And then what's the other one that's really popular right now? They did the Big Bad Wolf song, and I can't remember. In this moment, like they have songs that I really like, and then they have songs that I really hate, and I hate just how screechy her voice can get, because she's almost like screeching into the microphone, which is really cool, but like at times, but I think they do it like too much. So I know I'm getting on a tangent about heavy metal. I love heavy metal, so. And I'm losing viewers because of it. Oh no, sad day. Let me go ahead and turn this up right now. There we go. Because right now it's like making it really bright on my face, so I can't really see. So, yeah, no, I've seen Korn in concert once, and they're really good. And no, I'm glad that Iowa is your favorite Slipknot album. Like I said, I think it was ahead of its time when it came out. You know, because Iowa was one of those albums that it was like. It was just so heavy, and it was just like something that you didn't really hear on the radio, and I think it just kind of took a lot of people by surprise, just at how like just brutal that Slipknot could be. So, and a lot of their newer stuff kind of harkens back to Iowa. I feel like they've gotten heavier and heavier kind of over time. So, August Burns Red is a very good band, very very good band. I love August Burns Red. So. I'm glad that you actually got to go see them. I don't get a lot of time to go to concerts. And sadly, I don't really have friends that are as much of a metalhead as me. Like the guys that listen to metal at work, they listen to like Five Finger Death Punch, which I'm fine with. I don't mind Five Finger Death Punch. But the issue with Five Finger, I feel, is like all their songs sound kind of the same. They've kind of found their sound, and they just kind of stick to it. So they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I mean, they're making millions and millions of dollars off of it. So I guess if I found something that worked, and I was making just more money than I knew what to do with, I would just keep doing it too. But I kind of wish they would kind of branch out and do some different stuff. You know what I mean? Because Korn is a great example of a band that just kind of reinvents itself all the time. And they try different things, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, yeah, so, like I said, the guys at work, they just kind of listen to stuff like Five Finger, which is fine. If you like Five Finger, you know, whatever, I get it. I like some of their songs, like their Bad Company. Their Bad Company cover was really, really good. I feel like they did a lot of justice to that song, which is really good. But as for my favorite bands, so like I said, I would tell you my favorite bands. So my two favorite bands of all time, In Flames. So now newer In Flames, I feel like they've kind of like, and yet again, that is a band that reinvents itself all the time. But and I think it's mostly because the lead singer, his voice is kind of gotten to the point where I don't think he can really like screech or scream, because his scream is like it comes from somewhere down in here. But I feel like he can't do it nearly as much. And I saw him in concert, and when he would do it, it looked almost like it hurt because he was doing it so hard. So I feel like they've kind of gotten away from that more and gotten more, and his singing voice is incredible. Right now his name is completely evacuated my head. But In Flames, my number one favorite, and I actually got a guitar pick. So I was going in there, and like I went to their concert, and I guess I was headbanging so hard that the guitarist like kept pointing at me. He's like, "Oh, look at this guy, look at him!" And then they threw me a guitar pick at the end of the day, so which was amazing, and it's actually in a drawer around here somewhere. So I had a lot of fun at that concert. Absolutely loved it. They played all my favorite songs too. So super stoked. And it's funny too. So like it was in Omaha, so I go outside and when you're headbanging, you're moshing and everything, and you get really hot and sweaty. And I went outside because the guy I went with, he wanted to go smoke. So we go outside. And I was literally steaming. Like steam was coming off of me because I was so hot. And some guys that I didn't even know come up to me. And they're like, "Oh, dude, you're so hot right now. You're just like on fire." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny." And actually, they took pictures of me, and I got on Facebook for it. So a lot of fun. Love that concert. So yeah, In Flames. In Flames is definitely probably my number one or number two. And then my number two band, or like I said, number one or number two, Lamb of God. So Lamb of God is just an incredible band. I don't agree with them from a political standpoint because a lot of their older songs are very highly political, and they've kind of gotten away from that, which I highly appreciate because I don't like politics. I know affect songs, but especially like in politically turbulent times like we are in right now, it's kind of like not something that I want in my music. I kind of want to get away from it, and so I appreciate that they've gotten away from it. But Lamb of God, I feel like is super, like just an awesome band, and probably my number one. Lately, I've been really into so I know these are more mainstream bands, but Nothing More. I think Nothing More is an incredible band. The lead singer, he is just like that guy. Probably has more energy than I think anybody in the world. If you have not seen this band, like I highly recommend you look them up. And they're one of those bands that are kind of reinventing what I think metal sound is, because they're very they have a lot of electronica and a lot of they're doing like more of the dubsteppy style sounds in their metal, and it's really cool what they're doing. And the message of their songs are really I really like the message of their music. So because music all has a meaning behind it, and that's kind of why I've kind of gotten away from pop music and rap music, because I feel like a lot of the rappers and the pop music now is just they make sounds to sell records, and it's not there's that not really meaning behind it per se. And I think a lot of the messages that they kind of come across with aren't very positive messages. So, and oddly enough, metal of all the music I feel like has a lot of positive messages. It's just the way that they come across sounds very angry and very pissed off, and that's just the sound, right? So if you listen to the lyrics and stuff. Oh, hey, how's it going, Buddha? We're actually talking about heavy metal music because I am a huge metal and rock aficionado, and Jake, he's actually metalhead too. So we're actually sitting here talking about metal because Jake is hanging out with me right now. But now I got Buddha here, so we talk about Buddha things. Buddha things. So go ahead and do a overview of where I'm at with Mortarian. So like I said, here in about 40 minutes I'll get, or a little bit less, so about a half an hour. I feel like Mortarian's not on his base all the way again. Anyways, here in about 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get off stream for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and do the actual live stream. But let me go ahead and give you guys an overview of where Mortarian's at. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the window here to give myself lots of light. So hopefully you guys can kind of see what the shading looks like. And like I said, if you guys are a member of the Facebook page or a member of the Discord channel, I will put up photos of him here in a little bit. So, oh, awesome, Buddha! What kind of metal? What kind of metal? We totally were talking about a lot of metal. So, and I'm interested to hear what other people's favorite metal bands are. So. So MC Crasso, I actually have a new battle report. It's Tyranids versus Demons, and so I actually did cover earlier on in the stream that because I'm in the process of moving right now, that I have not been filming my battle reports. I've been playing games, but I don't actually have all the equipment and stuff is actually in my new house, And so right now I'm just kind of practicing and playing some games and getting back to the basics, just getting some practice games in. But yeah, I do have a battle report filmed. It's Demons vs. Tyranids. It'll probably be coming out here in a couple weeks. And then my next filming for battle reports is going to be actually at the GT that I'm going to. So and that's kind of like, I'm kind of like holding all this battle reportness in me for the GT because I'm going to be filming like partially 5 different games, So now, so at this point, we've base coated all of Mortarion. I went ahead and I hit up all the shades for his cloak, all of his metals. So for all the metals, I used Null and Oil. All the bony parts, I used Seraphim Sepia, so the end of the horns and stuff here. The Nurglings, I actually did a wash paint of them with Bealtan Green. So if you guys want to know how I did that in the last video. And so for the flames on the bottom, I have not actually washed these yet, but it's White Scars White. And then I actually went over with Uthman Gray with all the raised areas. So that way when I hit it with the blue, so I'm actually going to be using Nighthaunt Gloom for the flames. And so when I hit it, it'll kind of give it that nice shaded look. I'll have the raised parts be darker than the deeper recesses or whatever. Now for all the wings, I went through off camera and I actually I washed these with Nihilic Oxide. So I don't actually have the pot up right now. But Nihilic Oxide, and what it does is it gives it this nice, just kind of almost like a translucent look here. So you guys let me know how the picture is of this new camera. So this is supposed to be 1080p. I think it's more like 720. But yeah, hopefully it's giving you guys a nice view. And I'll explain what happened in the live stream as to what happened with my camera and stuff. On the scythe here, I went through and I shaded all the bony parts with Seraphim Sepia, and then the red part back here on the back of the scythe, so it looks almost like it's tearing, like the scythe's alive, so I went ahead and highlighted that with Druchii Violet. Now all the skin parts of Mortarion, so the face, his hands here, and the back part right here, was made with Scrag Brown, and I highlighted with Druchii Violet, and I'm letting that dry out. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at with Mortarion, At this point, I'll start having to highlight and do the flames. The flames are probably going to be the very last thing I actually finish up on. But, yeah, hopefully he looks pretty good on this camera. I think that he's looking pretty neat. So I need to actually let him dry. So his horns right now, like if you guys can see, are still wet. So we'll go ahead and set him down, and I'll close this window. Ooh, Buddha's talking about some metal. I want to read Buddha's comments. Maiden. Oh, yeah, Iron Maiden, man. I love Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden's awesome. Hell yeah, Judas Priest. All those bands. Really good. And Metallica, Faith No More. And a little Slayer. So Slayer is one of those bands I've never liked. Like, regardless of their song, there is not one Slayer song that I actually like. So, which is weird. Like, being a metalhead, you would think, metal or Slayer would be the thing that I would like, but I don't. So, I don't know. It's odd. It's odd. So because we're letting Mortarion dry off right now with all the shades that I put on him, so I'm going to just kind of set him off to the side because I don't think I'll get back to him this stream. We'll go ahead and actually start working on the wings. So this is what one of the wings looks like. So it was a shade of Athonian camo shade and Carolbird Crimson. So those are the 2 colors that I'm using for the wing. And then I'm actually going to go through and hit up the rest of it with Druchii Violet, so all the veins and kind of like the tears I'll do in Druchii Violet just to kind of give it like a spotted, mottled look. So yeah, that's where I'm at for that. So here, I'm going to go move those things. Oh yeah, no, Slayer is great for memes. Great for memes. Dance music scene in the late 90s for a few years. No, that's good. No, that's awesome. Like I said, I'm kind of digging metal lately that's gotten a lot of influence from like dubstep and a lot of influence from like pop music, which metal has always gotten influences from those. It's just a lot of metalheads tend to neglect the fact that they're influenced by other genres of music. Because I think a lot of pure metalheads are like, no, metal's metal. Like we don't listen to anything else. We just listen to metal. But yeah, no, I do appreciate that it's been influenced highly by other sounds and things like that. So, all right, need my Lamian media. All right, looking good. You can actually see what the model is. Oh, hell yeah! So thank you. I appreciate the kind comments on my Mortarian. So hopefully it turns out really nice. I do like the way that he's coming along. And I can't wait till he's finished. So I'll probably most likely on Tuesday do another one of these streams because tomorrow I'm actually driving down south to go play against Orcs again. So I'm actually playing against Orcs again tomorrow. Today I'm playing against Iron Hands. So after we're done with all these streams and stuff, I'll be going and playing Iron Hands. We'll see if I feel like it tonight. I might come and do a late stream where I keep pressing with Mortarian. The goal is to have him done. I would like to have him done by the next weekend when I move, because if I can get to that point where he's done before I move, that would be awesome and definitely optimal, because it's one less model I have to paint. The next one that I intend to tackle, this guy. And I still don't know what I want to do with him. That's the problem. Like, I kind of know what I want to do with him, but I'm afraid, because it is my favorite model, I'm afraid I'm going to mess him up. And that'll make me really sad. Really, really sad. Because I love the Lord of Change so much. Such a gorgeous model. That is a model that actually, I might even talk to my friend if he's there today and see if he'll commission paint it for me. Because I am so afraid that I'm going to mess it up. And my buddy, he is a great, great painter. He's old, though. Like, he's an old guy. He's really grumpy. I love you, Riddick. I absolutely love you, but you are grumpy. And you know that you are. And you're hilarious. He's probably the funniest guy I've ever met. He's got a lot of stories, too. But, yeah, I'll probably talk to him about commission painting. My Lord of Change, if he will. Because he did a Magnus and it turned out really nice. And he's also the guy that I've been trying to bug into commission painting my kill teams. He just refuses to paint my kill teams because he says that they're going to be really boring. And like I said, he's an older guy. He's retired twice. He retired from the military and then he retired again from the police department or something like that. And so he definitely has no problem speaking his mind. And that's part of why we love Riddick. He's a lot of fun. And like I said, his stories, man, he's got so many stories. And some of the stuff he says, like, it sounds unbelievable. But when you actually know him, you realize that he's not one of those guys to just tell a story to tell a story. Like, he tells a story because it actually happened. And there's so many details you're like, what the hell? Like, this is real life. Like, you've really experienced these things. Like, he tells us all the time he's arrested multiple like movie stars and things like that for various things, and he tells you stories about like the things that they do. He has an incredible story about the time that they had to arrest a Navy SEAL because he was in the Marines, and really just bonkers bonkers things, and the things that he knows how to do and as just a human being, because the military teaches you some really cool skills, and he was a cop for the better part of his life. He's still super huge, he looks like he's ripped, even though I'm pretty sure he doesn't see the gym ever anymore. But like just some of the things he tells you is just incredible. But yeah, so back to the original point, thinking of having him go ahead and commission my Big Bird. So I'll talk to him about that if he's at the store today. He's always at the store anymore. I think I'd be at the store too. Like, you don't have work to go to, and you're just kind of like at home. And my wife's gonna be a doctor, so I'm sure she won't want me like hanging out, just being a bum. So just go to the store, go hang out. And I actually want to try to get a game in with him. I've tried to get a battle report with him because I think he would be amusing, because he plays Chaos Demons right now. And I think that he would be a super amusing opponent to have on stream. But he watches battle reports all the time too, because when he paints, that's what he watches is battle reports. And I told him, you need to watch mine. Like, he's a subscriber, and I'm like, you need to watch mine and let me know what you think. And he's like, oh yeah, man, I will one day. And then he never does. So, Riddick, you need to watch my damn shit and let me know. Because he's one of those no shit guys. Like, he will tell you how it is and how he feels. So, which I feel would be good. Be good for me to help grow. So first I do a very light, and I know you guys have commented some stuff. I'm trying to get these, at least the wings partially done before I take my break. And also I need to check my phone here in a minute. But so I take Lamia medium and my shade, and I water it down pretty thoroughly. So that way it's pretty much like 2 or 3 shades lighter. And then I just kind of go across the wing. Just kind of go down the wing. Now, if you're one of those perfectionist types, I would recommend that you kind of meet your colors on the tips of the wings, you know. Just kind of like go to the tip of the wing and then make sure. I would probably just like rotate the wing and do it, but I do one side of the wing at a time. That way it can dry. And so I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want to stop the green. Just kind of going down the whole thing to about, I'd say, the midway point of the wing. There we go. And then I'm going to go through, grab my Caribou Crimson. Same thing, water it down, and I'm going to do the same. Now, I like to blend the colors where they meet. You don't have to do it that way. Like, when I did the front side of the wing, I actually I failed to do it. I did the green first to just kind of see how it turned out, and then I did the red next. But I like to actually like blend the colors so that way they kind of fade into one another. Now, if you're doing like complementary colors, you know, you could let one dry and then go ahead and do the next color, and it probably would turn out just fine. But now the crazy part about Caribou Crimson is it looks very much like Druchii Violet. Like, it's kind of weird. When I was using it originally, I thought that it was Druchii Violet, and I just grabbed the wrong pot. But it's like more of a reddish purple. And then also my opinion on the wings too. I don't think that the front and the back of the wing, I mean, they could, because they're supposed to probably be like membranes, you know. They could look the same, but I honestly don't think that they would. I think that it would look different on the front and the back of the wing. So, but I'm just kind of going across. And so now I got to let these dry. And so we got both of the wings at least started. And so I'm going to actually, because some of the red is actually pulling up on this other one. So I need to actually go through and kind of dab off some of the red. Because washes, when they dry, they tend to do like a weird, like almost like glossy look. And I don't like when it does that at all. So I'm just going through and just kind of drying up some of those little pools that I got on those. And there we go. So this is what my wings are gonna, that's what we're kind of doing. So, all right, let's see what else we got. Seasons in the Abyss was the album that I love of theirs, but not much more than that. No, if you like Slayer, you like Slayer, man. You don't have to agree with me. Slayer's just not my thing. Just not my thing. Never has been. And I've tried to go back and listen to it. And I'm like, man, I don't see what people like. about this. So I mean, it's like anything. There's things that people rave about and just people don't understand. So no, for my my chicken, actually, I'm so when I did my old chicken back in 5th edition, I did do like a Phoenix style look. I'm actually thinking of doing like a watercolor look. So what that would entail is basically just splotches of paint, and I want it to look like very almost like he just kind of came out of a pot of paint and just became this big, you know, bird. But at this point, like I don't know how I want to do it, and that's kind of why I've held off on even putting. I went and bought 3 colors of contrast. I'm thinking red, yellow, and blue. You know, and just splotching it around him. It's just when you get to the main body of him, I don't know if I want to just do the splotchy effect on like his legs and stuff, or if I want to do like pretty much everything but the weapons. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like up in the air as to where to take this model, and because I love the model so much, it's not just one of those things I want to just kind of jump into. Also, my damn spray can came out kind of gritty on some parts of him, which I hate when that happens. So he's actually flaking everywhere right now, which sucks. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with him. Can't wait to paint him though. I'm gonna be so excited. Like, Mortarian's turning out really nice, and I'm kind of learning new techniques. You know, actually these live streams, people have actually given me ideas and suggestions on where to take my painting, which is awesome. And that's why I'm highly enjoying these live streams, because not only do I get to talk to people, and you know, if you guys are painting your models, maybe you can learn something from me, and I learn stuff from you guys all the time too. People always do I'll ask for recommendations and they give them to me, or they give suggestions. Hey, why don't you try this? And I try it, and it turns out really good. And so, you know, communal. We're communal painting right now. I'm going through and dabbing off the pools that are happening on this other wing right now. There we go. Because like I said, I want it to, because I'm going to go back through, and in order to get the fade, so like how I did the, is it this wing? How I did this wing right here is actually I went over the tip of the wing multiple times, and so you get that gradient look of the different reds all the way through the wing. So now I kind of messed up the front of the wing, not gonna lie. The front of the wing I don't think is gonna look nearly on that wing is gonna look as good as how I'm doing the other two, but we'll see. Maybe I'll go back through and touch it up and try to fix my issues. So we'll see. I'm currently kit bashing a Necron Tomb Sentinel. I have never heard of a Tomb Sentinel. Like, is that a Forge World unit, or is that... I've never heard of that. That's something new. 20 years of driving a cab. Where do you drive a cab at? Man, I've heard cab drivers, y'all have some crazy stories. Oh, okay. So you put your Magnus on Discord. Let me take a look. Yeah. So while Buddha is responding to my comment, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our Discord channel. So if you guys are not a part of the Discord channel, please join our Discord channel. Wow, he is super shiny. Okay, so those are the color shift paints. That's pretty cool. I like it. I like it, Jake. I like it a lot. And my wife responded to me finally, so let me send a good morning to her. Alright, I'm saying a good morning to her, and there we go. So I think we're to the point of the live stream where I kind of can't really paint anything else because everything is drying. So I'm going to go ahead and sit these wings off to the side, and I've adjusted my camera. And so if you guys are interested, I will be back here in about 30 minutes or so with the actual live stream. So during the actual live stream, I will cover some lists that I found really interesting, some lists that are doing really well for Chaos. And we'll just kind of talk about the general meta and some other things, give some welcomes to some new patrons to the channel. And as a matter of fact, now I'm actually writing down, which I'm going to cover this, I'm actually writing down what I'm going to talk about during the streams, because I tend to find that I kind of go backwards and talk about things multiple times, which I get annoyed at when I hear people talking, because I'm like, we literally just covered that. So when I do that, and I know that I do it, so now I'm actually trying to write down what we're going to talk about on every stream. So like I said, always improving, always making things better. I'm getting better equipment. I've got a better mic. We'll cover that. And so I hope to see you guys back on the live stream. I'm reading Buddha's comment here. So pretty much every story you have heard from about a cab driver is probably true and pretty damn close to true. I can absolutely believe that, because people say some crazy stuff just in normal day-to-day conversation. I can only imagine when they're drunk sitting in your cab at 1 or 2 in the morning, the stuff that they will spout off. And at least people are taking cabs, cabs or Ubers or whatever. Definitely don't want people driving drunk. That's definitely not good for anybody. Putting away some paintbrushes real quick. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this paint stream, and we'll be back here in, like I said, about 30 minutes, and we'll do the normal live stream. So hope to see you guys there. And waiting for that to end.